Hey, this is Phil Ratcliffe with Rebel Financial, and we are joined here today with Paul Brousil with HBK CPAs, and we're going to bring to you some entertaining and informational content about accounting and taxes in a way that hopefully will help you save some money, sleep better at night, and overall just do better financially. So Paul, as we start to talk about taxes, kind of give us a little intro of how do you actually work with your clients, so people can get a real idea of how it's like to work with a CPA.
Okay, we work with our clients, individuals as well as small businesses. Usually, we work with them. It's up as far as how we communicate with them based on their preference. I know some people prefer coming to our office every time they need something or have any questions. Others will just go ahead and call us, or will correspond via email. But usually, if it's a local client, they'll come to our office for at least an initial client. Just to introduce ourselves to each other. But we've communicate with them whatever is most beneficial to them or what they prefer.
Sure. So, do you mainly work with businesses or individuals? Is it only high net worth, or is it like regular people? I think a lot of people think that, I don't need an accountant until, I'm rich or something like that,
Yeah.
So
I guess it all depends on the individual. We work with small businesses, not-for-profits, and individuals. It's based on their needs, I guess, more than anything. Some people prefer doing their own taxes, but others they want to have a professional do their own taxes and accounting work. And as far as businesses go, most businesses should have a CPA or an accountant help them with their tax planning, tax work, as well as audit, review, compilation, or assurance services.
Sure. So when we're thinking about individuals, I get this question a lot working with clients. A lot of my clients will say, do I need an accountant? When do I need an accountant? Give us some examples of kind of telltale signs of when, somebody could really use some professional help rather than just using TurboTax or a seasonal preparer like H&R Block.
Okay.
So.
Typically, people will need the help of a CPA when they have multiple income sources outside of a traditional W-2, maybe one 1099 and a 1098 for their itemized deductions. If they have any sort of retirement income, as well as maybe a flow-through entity, a K-1, coming from like a trust, partnership, or SCorp return. Typically, those are situations where someone's going to need some additional help with their tax planning and tax preparation.
Okay. So do you help people with the taxable? Obviously there's some legal there, but with the taxable, should I be an LLC or SCorp, how will that best benefit me, whether I'm taking all stuff personal income or whether it's the K1 distribution or what,
Right. With that, typically if it's just a small individual, self-employed, they probably are just better off keeping it simple with an LLC. That would be one less tax return for them to file. It would be just a a Schedule C reporting of the single-member LLC business. Whereas if you have an S-Corp, S-Corp status, you have to set up the corporation, and then you would have to file for S-Corp status, make that election, then you'll have a tax return to file as well. Every situation is a little different, but typically if it's a small business, one-man shop, you probably want to go with the single member LLC.
Sure. So I think we all kind of like stories, they're fun to hear, and it gives us an actual practical, I guess, being able to relate directly to things rather than it just being abstract. So do you have a story maybe about an individual client that works with you to where the situation or what you found or whatever, like, do you have a story maybe that you could tell us?
I'm sure. Actually, we had a small business owner who had an SCorp with a K1 flowing to their individual return. And there were a few things in the prior year's returns that the preparer had overlooked, where Ohio has a small business deduction, where up to 75% of the income is eligible for exclusion on the Ohio return.
Okay.
And that information was excluded from prior year's returns. So we were able to help them out and prepare an amended return for the Ohio return and get some of that money back.
How many years can you go back on something like that?
We can go back 3 years.
3 years?
3 years. That's the statute of limitations.
Gotcha.
For both federal and Ohio.
So if you messed up longer than that, then you just gave the state or the feds a nice gift.
Exactly. Exactly. And we try to prevent that from happening.
Sure. That's awesome. So, do you have any more examples you'd like to share, or is that probably the main one that comes to mind?
That's the main one that comes to mind. But there's some other instances where an individual, based on their investments, can do some planning. If you have a long-term loss carryover that's been accumulating, we really want to look for those investments that are in a gain position, so that you can offset those gains with that long-term capital loss carryover that you've been accumulating for possibly a few years.
Yeah.
So there are a few things like that we take a look at.
I think a lot of people forget about those things sometimes too. I mean, obviously, I think when it happens, you're like, I'm never going to forget about this and whatever. But obviously, when it's your job to keep track of it, you make sure that keeps carrying forward until you get it all back.
Right, exactly.
Or if you coordinate with someone like us, and then I need to rebalance and recognize some gains, we know exactly how much we can offset against that, and eat that up efficiently.
Right, exactly.
And that's one of the, actually we work with you guys like as a firm to help our clients, and that's one of the really nice things that I've enjoyed working with you guys. And I've worked with lots of accounts in the past, but it's very hard to collaborate, because everybody seems to want to work in their own silo. And I think we've done a good job, and I'm sure other financial firms have similar setups, but I've found that it's really hard to find a good relationship like that, to where we can work together, to where we're doing the investment management, the financial planning, but then when we have the tax planning, we can kind of connect it and think about it a lot more forward, rather than just, what's getting dumped out of the banker's box on your desk, to just organize it for last year and that's it, So, kind of going forward, do you see any opportunities or pitfalls, with recent changes or things that you just see happening, like maybe with different preparers or people doing things themselves or law changes, that could be a pitfall or opportunity?
Yeah, I think when someone prepares their own return or has like a small tax preparation shop, there may be some things that are overlooked. What we do, we go through what we have is a questionnaire to kind of go through each individual client's year to see if there are any changes in their status, any expenses that they may have no longer have, or change in income. We can basically look at where they're at and do some tax planning there. And if, let's say, someone just recently retired, their tax bracket is going to go down usually the year or two after they retire, and they may be making estimated tax payments or having withholdings. We do a good job of letting them know how much they should be withholding or paying. Because you don't want to give the government more than you need to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I'm sure people like their returns, but
right, but it's obviously more efficient to
you're giving them an interest-free loan,
to the government. So So basically, we look at each year, the current year and the upcoming years, to see what changes need to be done. So their use of their money is put to good use.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as we keep doing these in the weeks going forward, one of the things that we want to integrate, hopefully next week, is having a live stream. So if you all, our audience, have questions, through Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, that we'll be able to answer those live. Right now, we're still trying to just master the video and audio, doing live and coordinating everything, especially multi-streaming to YouTube and to Facebook and to the website simultaneously. So no matter how you enjoy, watching our interviews and information, that you can get it in the media that you prefer. Lastly, Paul, tell us a little bit just about your firm and you, and if people are interested, how they can get in contact with you.
Okay, I am I work for HBK CPAs, Hill, Barth and King. It's a regional CPA firm, Eastern Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, some offices down in Florida as well as New Jersey. So we have the multiple offices to pull information from to help our clients. And then we can be reached at area code 614-228-4000. My extension is 2407 if you want to reach me directly. I can also be emailed. Email address is Brousil, Brousil, at hbkcpa.com.
Yep. And we have a relationship as well, so obviously if you're on one of our pages, you could probably just click something. Feel free to chat or text or email or what so, and we can forward you Paul or HBK's information as well. So coming up next week, we actually have Scott McHenry from McHenry Advisors coming on. So we're going to be talking about more complex retirement plans, which can be awesome for profitable businesses, or even in transition if owners are thinking about selling to a younger generation or what so. We can do some great things tax-wise. And it's really interesting to have the perspective of an actuary as well as the investment and the client perspective. Then the week after that, then I think we're going to have Tony Jones, who also is an advisor here at Rebel Financial, and possibly one of our payroll partners that's a very tech integrated in terms of how can we build better retirement plans and benefits for businesses, especially medium and smaller businesses that may not have the resources that the larger companies have, to make an awesome platform for your employees at a great cost. And a lot of times you can even build things better. It's kind of one of those things that's really changing in the industry, to where small companies, because they have the ability to pivot and make more executive decisions, we can adopt this new awesome technology and integrate it in. So that's coming up. Then the week after that, we're going to be at the ODA, the Ohio Dental Association. We're going to interview one of our dentists that's actually a business owner, and talk a little bit about being a small business owner and running a dental practice. And then we've got some more lined up after that. But again, we keep trying to grow these. Next week you'll have the ability to question in live. And we, as always, appreciate your viewership. Thank you, Paul, for coming and enlightening some of our guests on how to keep more of their money legally from Uncle Sam. So thank you, guys. See you next Friday at 11 a.m.